I asked him, I said, I have 4 fathers. We had times when there's no food. We had no food in Thanksgiving. Somebody came and fed my family. That's why I feed people today. And I said, how could that be? My dads are hardworking, they're good people. And Jim Rohn said to me something I'll never forget, and it's what this entire knowledge business is about. He said, Tony, we're all equal as humans, as souls, but we're not equal in the marketplace. But let me just give you a sense of the background. I started out in a really tough environment, and so did Dean. He'll share his story as well. There were no role models. We had no money for food. In fact, today I'm privileged to be able to feed 100 million people every year through my partnership in Feeding America. I said I'm going to feed 1 billion people over 10 years. We're 5 years into it. We've fed 500 million people. I mean, I didn't have money to food. We couldn't eat at times. And so to have that kind of turnaround, to go from completely stressed, I had 4 different fathers, my parents are always fighting, and early as just a young boy, I just said, I don't want this for my future family. I've got to find a way to do things that make the quality of our life different, where we can have the income, yes, but also the joy and the happiness. And so I became obsessed like a student. I started reading books. I took a speed reading class when I was just in junior high school. And I said, I'm going to read a book a day. And of course, I didn't do that, but I read 700 books in human development over about 7 years, psychology, physiology, anything that can improve life. And then I started going to seminars. I didn't know what a seminar was. And here's the story for 2 seconds. I'm in high school. I'm struggling. I work as a janitor, making $40 a week. And my mom, I should say, said that she talked to this man's wife and he needed somebody to help him out by do some moving. He was a man that had been unsuccessful. In fact, my father chimed in and said, he's a total loser, and now he's very successful. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, I don't know. He went to some seminar. And I said, what's a seminar? My dad said, I don't know. So I volunteered. No, I didn't volunteer. I got paid to go do this heavy-duty moving for the weekend to try and earn some money. And at the end of it, he said, you're a really hard worker. I want to hire you again. I said, well, I want some advice. I said, I want to know. I heard you're such a loser, my dad said. Only kids can say this.
At least you put a cushion on it.
Right? And I said, but now you're so successful. How come? And he said, your dad really said that? And then he finally said, well, it's kind of true. He goes, I was a bit of a loser. And he said, what turned me around was going to a seminar. I didn't know anything about self-education. I didn't know anything about what a seminar might be. And I said, what's a seminar? He goes, well, a man who's taken his whole life and he's become very successful, he started with nothing, shares with you the best of what he's learned. And his goal is to help you compress decades into days. Like help you learn in a few days what took him decades to learn and save you so much pain and help you become more successful. And I said, how do you do it? He goes, well, he has this 3.5-hour seminar and you should come to it. And he told me all about it. And I said, how much is it? And he said, $35. And I remember going, oh my God, $35 for 3 hours? I said, I make $40 a week as a janitor. I said, can you get me in? And he said, yes.
For 30.
And I said, well, will you? And he said, no. And I said, why not? He goes, because you won't value it if you don't pay for it. I said, trust me, I'll value it. So the biggest decision in my life at that stage was, do I take a week's pay to go hear some guy talk for 3 hours? And thank God in the end, I thought to myself, I'm struggling so bad. If I don't get this information, how long will it take me to get it? So I went to this man's seminar. And here's what happened. It wasn't like there was some magic there. He just gave me insights I had never had before. Some of them I heard because I've read so many books. But the most important piece of advice and an insight he gave me, I got to ask him personally. And here's the question, because it relates to everything we're going to share with you tonight. I asked him, I said, I have 4 fathers. We had times when there's no food. We had no food in Thanksgiving. Somebody came and fed my family. That's why I feed people today. And I said, how could that be? My dads are hardworking, they're good people. And Jim Rohn said to me something I'll never forget, and it's what this entire knowledge business is about. He said, Tony, we're all equal as humans, as souls, but we're not equal in the marketplace. I said, what does that mean? He said, well, you look at somebody working at McDonald's, they're making whatever it was in those days. I don't remember, it was $4 an hour, now it's $7.50, I think, or something of that nature. He said, Tony, he goes, anyone can do that. You can learn to do that literally in a few hours. Today, at McDonald's, they have pictures. You don't even have to be able to speak English. They can just push buttons. So there's not a lot of added value. He said, in the marketplace, your value is your ability to bring something special to people, something that meets their needs. In order for you to do that, you've got to learn how to add more value. You've got to become more valuable. You've got to work harder on yourself than anything else. For things to change for you, you got to change. For things to get better, you got to get better. And he said, if you see somebody who's a billionaire, instead of saying, aren't they lucky? He gave me an example in those days. It was this big hedge fund guy, be like Ray Dalio today or someone like that. And he said he made $4 billion last year. This person made $15,000. Because that sounds so unfair. But listen, most people put their money in the bank and they're getting 2%. He got 42% for his investors, which included nonprofit funds, things of that nature. He goes, he's worth $4 billion because he made $40 billion for everybody. right? He said, you have to understand your fathers are good people, but they didn't figure out how to get away from generalized knowledge to specialized knowledge. That's what this is about. If you go to the university today, you can get a phenomenal education. Unfortunately, it costs a lot. In fact, if you're a millennial, you paid 8 times more. It's grown 8 times faster than incomes. And, we have $1.5 trillion worth of debt for young people today. It's insane. And here's the worst part. Dean knows this. 73% of the people who major in an area never work in the area they spent all this money for. 30, 40, 50, 100, $200,000 for. And of the 22% that do, that group of people, or 27% that do, that group of people say, 52% say they don't enjoy what they have. And there are 111 universities right now that have over $1 billion endowment. They're like hedge funds with money attached. So there's nothing wrong with college. It's a great thing. But people come up and can't get a job because they don't have specialized knowledge you can act on, knowledge that can change your life immediately. So I took that education, I became obsessed, I started studying everybody I could. I started loading myself with audio tapes back in those days. I had cassettes, that's all I am. There was no internet, I was going to the library, I was reading every book. And then I launched my first seminar. And I tell you this because this is where some of you may be tonight. I didn't know what the heck to do. I just had this knowledge. I wanted to share it. I wanted to help people. So it was expensive in those days. There wasn't, an ability to send free email. I used the old snail mail. I'm old, right? I had to go rent a giant hotel. I couldn't do it on Skype or, on some piece of that nature. So I had to spend the money, run the ads. And I tried to do a free seminar. And I rented a room for 500 people. And I spent $10,000, which would be like $30,000 today, which is all the money I had. And 7 people showed up. It's a true story. And they were spread out all around the room. And I was like, could you all come down to the front row here? And that's how I started. Now today, I did 102 cities last year in 15 countries. My average seminar is 10 to 15,000 people. And I have the privilege of, I've coached all 5 living presidents and presidents before that as well. I've worked with some of the greatest athletes in the world, from the Andre Agassi's to the Conor McGregors and Serena Williams.
Tony Robbins, if you guys are a part of KBB, he went really deep on this the other night in a training. But I want to give my perspective on this, plus what I learned from Tony. I've learned so much from him, and he's such a dear friend. But here's what happens in uncertain times. We'll use that. Maybe we could call it unprecedented times, right? None of us have ever seen this. This is completely different, right? So when something's unprecedented, it causes uncertainty, which causes fear, which causes paralysis, which causes you to be left behind. Can we agree to that? Even if you're strong-willed, if you let the wrong thoughts come in, it will paralyze you, or it will cause procrastination. Like you wonder, why do I procrastinate sometimes? Why did I binge out on Netflix? I know I have work to do. I know I want to go to another level. What the hell's going on with me? It's that evolution. Unprecedented creates uncertainty, creates fear, creates holding back, which creates you to procrastinate and then miss your opportunity, and then you're left behind. We're not going to do that here. So right now, number 1, focus on what you have, not what you lost or you don't. Let me just ask you, if you focus on that you have your health today, and I hope every single one of you is massively healthy. If you're not, I'm sending my love and prayers. But let's just say, if you have your health today, if you woke up today, if you have the ability to gain capabilities like you're doing right now today, if you have an innovative mind, if you have an artful mind, if you have a creative mind, or maybe you have a process-driven mind, you know how to create SOPs, standing operating procedures, you love Excel spreadsheets, or maybe Excel spreadsheet freaks you out and you love the innovation of getting into flow state and figure out what's going on next in the world. When you focus on that, when you focus on your children, when you focus on someone you love, how does that feel? Right? You have this right now. No matter if you're in quarantine, you have this. You have these capabilities. You're not starting from zero. You're already on third base. When you think about all you've learned, all you've gone through, how about thinking through that one thing that was so difficult and you didn't know if you'd be okay, but you actually are way better of a human because of that, and you look back and go, I conquered that. Just let me know how that feels, or how does that feel inside of you when you think through that, right? Because that's something you have. Now, let me just think about this. Or let me ask you this. What about now, take a moment and think about what you've lost. Did you lose income through all this? Did you lose connection with dear friends? Did you lose the ability to go to your favorite restaurant or go to happy hour? Did you lose the ability to go to the park and walk your dog with friends? Did you lose the ability to hang out with your friends, or even a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Did you lose the ability to, not leave your house if you live in an apartment in a city someplace? Again, did you lose the momentum that you have? Did you lose some of that fire And when you think about that, or you think about that you don't have money saved up, you don't have resources, you don't have anybody who has your back, you don't have the right education, how does that feel? All in these moments, nothing's changed in the outside world. Nothing since we've been talking changed in the outside world. But those two thoughts are bipolar opposites. One empowers you and says, I do have what I need. I am on third base. I have learned a lot. I have grit. I have desire. I have passion. I am creative. I am innovative. I am unstoppable. I am a force to be reckoned with. I can make this happen. This is all you got? You got more from me? Life happens for me, not to me. I'm being sharpened. I'm a piece of steel, and steel sharpens steel. I'm going to be a better version of me. I'm going to come out as a new man, as a new woman. Nothing can stop me. I got goosebumps. I don't know about you guys. Compared to the opposite side of that is, why would they take this from me? Why is this happening? When is the government going to give me more money? Why am I still stuck home? When is this going to change? Should I be on CNN or Fox? Should I be on MSNBC? Or maybe the Today Show can help me? Or what should I do? Or let me see what my friends had to say. Or, I'm going to go on Facebook for a while. No, I can't take all this. I'm going to pour a glass of wine and watch Netflix for the next 6 hours because I've lost so much. And I don't know where my future is. I'm not trying to be an ass. But which one empowers you? Which one turns you into a freaking leader, a role model for yourself, a role model for your subconscious, a role model for your family, a role model for your friends? We want to fix this country, we want to fix this world. We got to fix us first. That's why we're a part of a group like this. No games, no hesitation. It's really simple. I'm not trying to over-exaggerate this. What you focus on is what we get. If we focus on what we have, we are one version with goosebumps. When we focus on what was taken away, what we don't have, or what could go bad, we are screwed. Don't even think you could be a leader. Do you have moments of it? Of course, you're human, so am I. But you have to obsess on not allowing that to happen. Focus on what you could do today and not regret on past misses or future tragedies. Okay, one is focusing on what you have or not have or lost. This is the next iteration of that, is focus on what actions you can take today and not regret on past misses. Now, let me just ask you, how many of you, now that things have shifted, thought to yourself, I should have done my own business sooner? Just tell me if one of these, if you're listening right now and you're not even watching, if you're listening, think about this. How many of you, since this shift has happened, thought to yourself, I should have started my own business. I should have done something different. I should have saved more money. I shouldn't have bought those stupid things. Why did I waste that? Why didn't I partner? Why didn't, I scale the business? Why didn't I quit and do this? Why didn't I get the promotion? Why was I so lazy? Why did I procrastinate? Why did I just feel, fat and humble, right? I don't mean fat physically, just like lazy and I'm good. Sometimes when the world is aspirational, we want more, but we're like, this is pretty good going on. Let me just chill. How many of you have had a little regret of just chilling, of just being okay, of not being freaking hungry like you are right now, right? But let me ask you about something. When you think about that, when you think about those regrets, does it make you feel empowered? Or does it make you feel, crap, I missed it, now it's too late, the economy crashed, I can't do my own thing? It's BS. It is that thought of focusing on regret or past misses. It is the same thing. It robs you from who you want to be. All of your focus, you ready for this? All of your focus needs to be on what you can do at this very moment. What can you do today that can plant a seed for tomorrow? Who will you become now? Those regrets were put there in your life. There's nothing you can do. God creates, or whatever you believe in, it happens for us, not to us, like Tony says. They were there, if you believe this, for a reason. Burn that past down. Let it go to the ground. Stop looking in your rearview mirror. You cannot drive a car forward looking in your rearview mirror. It's an impossible task. You get in an accident and you crash. You have to look forward. You have to pay attention to what's going on right now. And the other thing too is you can't look ahead and paint a movie and create a future tragedy of what your life could be. well, if I just sit here, this is going to happen. If I don't do this, no, you can't. There can't be any time looking too far ahead, painting a vision, or looking too far behind. We have to live, as Eckhart Tolle says, in this moment. We have to live in the now and decide what we can do now. What can you do today that can set an intention, create momentum, plant a seed? So when this ends, and this too shall end, who can you become? What capabilities can you learn? Again, you're here, amazing. But what else can you do today that has nothing to do with the past and nothing to do with a fearful future? Something you can do today. Is there a book you can read, a course you can finish, an email you can craft, a URL you could register, a phone call you can make? Finally say no to something in your life that's not serving you or your bigger future. Finally say yes to something. What can you do today? What fear can you face today? Can you go do a Facebook Live? Can you do an Instagram Live? Can you film your first video? Create your sales page? Finish the damn course? Get enrolled in next level education and commit, burn the boats, pay for speed. What can you do today that can move the needle tomorrow in your life? That's what leaders do. That's what people that are role models do. Now, I'm not trying to be an ass, but most people are sitting around waiting for someone else to fix their life. No Prince Charming is coming. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but there's no Prince Charming. Nobody's coming through the door and sweep you up and going to fix this. There's no president going to fix this. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. Doesn't matter who is president right now. They're screwed. There's no good answers for anyone. The only people that can fix this is us, right here, inside here. Our actions, our thoughts, what we decide to do. That's it. Take that on. You want to be a leader? Take that shit on, for lack of a better word. It's on us. I get the glory internally when I know I took responsibility for this. Suffering can be on a high level or suffering can be on a low level, right? And that combined with the fact that, again, I'm talking about Tony because he's a friend and we talk a couple days a week. About 6 months ago, 8 months ago, Tony flew into Phoenix just to share something with me. So he flies in. His plane is the size of this building. And he flies in and we go and we sit at a restaurant and we close the place and we're there till 1 o'clock in the morning just talking. And he said, I found the secret to not suffering at all. I mean, you understand something. A lot of times we can share so much is because the people who face it the most, we have to find the way to solve these problems and it's easier to share. But he's like, I found a way not to suffer at all. I used to think that I had to stress about certain things that would make me better on stage, a better businessman, a better father, a better husband. And I realized that you could stop the suffering in a moment. You could just let it come through and out. He goes, it used to take a week, then a day, and then it was hours, and then it was minutes, now it's seconds. He said, I don't go more than 2 seconds with anything that holds me on suffering. And it was a much deeper comment. We talked for hours. But that combined with where I was in my life and the untethered soul gave me this process that I want to share with you guys. You know, if I said to you guys, if you had a week to live, what would you do? And I think what most people, and I'm going to have you right here in a minute, but not now because it's not what you think. I think up until a certain time in my life, you would think about if you were dying literally, an angel came down and said you had a week to live, what would you do? And I think our instinct goes to bucket list stuff, right? I should have taken that trip across Europe. I should have done this. I should have done that. But I use it in a completely different way that I want to share with you guys today. If an angel came down and said, sorry, you have a week to live, who would you call and say no to? Who would you call and say yes to? Who would you call and say I'm sorry to? Would the little things bug you if you ordered chicken and they brought you steak? Would you really give a crap? Would you care if your friends went to the movies and they didn't invite you? Would you care if someone was rude to you? Would you care if someone cut you off in traffic? How would you be to people around you? If it was rainy, would you say, shit, it's a rainy day? Or would you say, oh my God, look at the abundance of this amazing rain? If a mosquito bit you, would it bug you? If you had a week left to live, you'd be like, oh my God, that little thing just kicked my ass. And then I think about, and this is from the untethered soul, if a higher power, whoever you believe in, God, came down and spent time with you, do you want to be the person that lets all those little things bug you, that gets the angst, gets in the, suffers? Or would you want to be the person that just is living an abundant mindset, an abundant life? And I would love for you guys to take a few moments and not think of the bucket list stuff, but think of the things you would change immediately. What would you do if a really sweet, pleasant angel came down to deliver you the bad news that you had a week left to live. I think so much would change. I mean, there might be some bucket list stuff, but I know throughout a day, when I think through that framing, nothing gets me off, especially in the last 6 months. Nothing gets me off track. Nothing gets me to be angst. And I have to tell you, I'm always high energy. I was always running away from my past and being homeless as a kid and couldn't read well and getting made fun of. Like, I was always running from that. I always felt I had to run 100 miles an hour and I had to work all night and I could take on the stress. Something goes wrong with the business, give it to me. Something's wrong, there's a conflict, give it to me. I'll fix it, give it to me. And I'd hold it and I'd walk around with a smile on the outside, but I knew there was this burning hole of anxiety and stress and worry about going backwards. And I thought for so many years that was my driving force. I don't want to go backwards. I'm scared. I have this anxiety, but I can power through. And once I let that go, I was afraid to let it go, thinking that was my power. That was my superhero. That's what drove me, and it was a lie. You can accomplish just as much with zero suffering. You can accomplish just as much by being your best self, by having an abundant mindset, to search out those stories that disempower you and just focus on where you want to go. And I think what would be great is if you guys just took a couple of minutes right now and wrote down, what are 5 things that you would change if you literally had a week left? What are 5 things you would do? Who would you call? Who would you say I'm sorry to? Who would you forgive? The greatest gift I've ever been given is just forgiving all the people in my life and forgiving yourself. Would you forgive yourself? If you take a moment to write that down, and that was just part of how you lived everyday life, it's not that difficult. Because I can remember years trying to find gratitude. Somebody says, be grateful, and you're just having a horrific day, a horrific month, somebody's sick, somebody said no, going through a divorce. You're like, how can I find gratitude in this moment? There's always a place of gratitude, and this was my little hack. This is what pushed me over the edge. If you like today's podcast, then you're going to love being a part of my texting community. What's that mean? You could text me right now at 480-400-9019, or it should be below right here, and it comes directly to my phone. It doesn't go to my team, it comes to me. I've been absolutely loving the interaction. I send out some cool things. About once a week, I text nothing but things to get your week going, to get your mind thinking. And when we have new videos and things like that, I always text my community first. It has absolutely been a blast, and I'd love for you to do it right now. Text me, 480-400-9019. Do it. Text me. What's up? What's up? Hey, before you go, you need to watch these next few videos. They're absolute game changers. Hurry up and click right over here and watch them, and I'll see you there.